morning. We have seen now 5 years of this and
Yeah.
250 weeks. We can, there are people who will possibly say, well, why are you having so much as quantity? What is the quality you have generated? This is, how people will speak. To my mind, it's we have to persevere. We do not know how and when, what can emerge as direction from what we're doing. Over the last at least 6 to 8 months, I have seen, Mr. Reddy, you're also listening, and I'm hoping you will have some inputs for us. Over the last 6 months, I'm seeing that there are people who very intensely said, well, we need to have a few more directions. And they gave up after a certain point in time. It's very honestly, I also don't know what else we should be doing in order to see that we are able to forge directions beyond what we are doing today. It's well, we know the healthy tussle, I will say, that I have with our with Ravalji also on what has to be impacted at outreach levels, what needs to be impacted at levels where we emphasize constantly and make every thinking person who has anything that which can influence decision making in water to understand that they cannot just take some technology and do it. Technology is a bad word, it's a four-letter word. We have to see that we understand first, as he keeps dinning it into our ears, that there is a certain process that water, has as a property. It's an amazing property. Water, if you read people like Bill Bryson, for instance, we know how it's a miracle that water exists at all. It defies every law of science, to be what it is today. And Ravalji wrote even yesterday, sewage is a water-free science. Now, how on earth do we make people understand that? If I'm an EE, if I'm an AE, an assistant engineer, an executive engineer in some water supply board, be it in New York City, be it in India, be it in any other country. And that's the other part. If WOW as an action forum over 250 weeks has sought, I don't know how well and effectively, and I'm requesting all of you to be blunt and honest about it, has it done anything to make people understand that this is a worldwide problem? This is not a problem that India has got. This is a problem. I'm talking sanitation, that is. At the same time, are we emphasizing enough that before we get to anything on water and supply of water and recovery from wastewater, are we doing enough to see that we understand that this process has to first begin with surface water, especially in the agricultural sector? Why are we having bore wells? In how many villages and panchayats can we have a higher emphasis on surface water so that we don't have arsenic, fluoride, all the other ailments that come from heavy metals? Right? I go to Nalgonda district, a child smiles and I see black teeth. I go to Purnia in Bengal and north of into Hooghly and whatever, and I find iron is so high it stains your teeth. Right? It's like you have had pan. It's so red. Children's teeth are like that. Now, the Gangetic Basin. I don't have to tell you about Banaras and Ballia and places like that where arsenic is so high, right? The incidence of cancer coming out of arsenic is incredible in India, in the Gangetic Plain. Nobody wants to talk about it. So, borers have to stop, which is one of the campaigns we have to have. Apart from, of course, the end of pipe and sanitation challenges that Ravalji is speaking about, and this emphasis on surface water, which is the only way we will be able to stop heavy metals. I see, I can go on, but one or two more points, if you don't mind. And I must also tell you that Mary said she will join. Some of you saw the wonderful warm message that she has left there. Clearly, she sees, and she has spoken to me twice I think in the last 5, 7 days. She says, look, Africa would not have happened without WOW. I said, tell me where it happened. And she says it happened because at some point she suddenly realized that if she took only this much about harvesting the water and some bit on the sanitation part, she'll be able to drive home some project. We must all know there she is. Talk of whatever, and Mary is there. Good morning to you, Mary. I was just mentioning, that little post that you sent out, and of how you have been gracious enough to say that what started in Africa began on some of these conversations that we were having here. at this forum. So the question,
Absolutely.
Mary, and yeah, yeah, yeah. So the question for all of us is, we don't want to, smack our lips and thump our hearts and say, well, we did a great job. It doesn't help us. I think we must try and see if we can be not self critical, but understand where we can do better from here on. Where can we bring synergies? How can we have such learning as Mary graciously sort of, uh, says that the Global Water Works has had in terms of what she has been able to impact in Africa. If some of you, I think Mr. Datta was there the other day when Mary had this meeting. And thank you, Mr. Datta, for being here. Mr. Raval, Dr. Raval, thank you for being here. So the thing is that we have to be able to make such impact, a lot more of it in a lot more places, number one. Second, I've been telling people like Ram Kumar also that if there are people within the group who are talking to each other and bringing some impact, please share it here. That's the only way we will make at least the others know that, hey, thanks to the forum, there has been more impact, and that will encourage more people to do things. For example, the inclusion of that gentleman from Ahmedabad, I suddenly realized that Ramkumar knows him also well. So I'm saying there has to be a way of our, at least, no one's asking for any transactional things here, be able to say, hey, this has happened because of the forum, and that we are able to do more impact somewhere or the other. These are the broad points that I thought I'll set down here. I will also see that I send one link to a 5,000 word feature on Bao Action Forum that I had written sometime in 2023 for somebody or the other. And last week I stumbled upon it. I didn't even know that I'd forgotten about it. And when I read it, I shared it with this core team here of Niharika and Nikki and others. And I found that they also said, hey, there is a lot of work that has been done on structure, on funding of, how do you take outreach programs further? Mary, for instance, very graciously at one point in time, as an impulse of emotion, she sent 100,000 rupees. I said, where are you sending this money from? That was about 3 years ago, I think. No, 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 you don't worry about it. We'll see how it was. And I don't know how she managed it, but she did. See, that is heart speaking. She wants to have more of this done. August, Mary sits north of you. She's in Illinois. Yeah, you know. Okay. So I'm saying that, this year, for example, there is hope that the Rain Reach program will touch probably 10, 12 schools. I have had the Indian Plumbing Association over one meeting of 3 minutes. You won't believe this. The national president, he was just walking away. I made him sit at one of these coffee tables in a restaurant of a hotel. And I said, Gurmeet, you're going to do this now. And he said, what do you want? He didn't even think about it. He said, I will give you 10 schools this year. Right? So he is supporting 10, and that means about what? Each school is about 8 to 9 lakh rupees. Right? So you know how much that is. And the other one is, of course, Rotary is doing something about it. A whole lot of people. It's not one Rotary club. I think it's about 7 or 8 Rotary clubs. And of course, Raj has been a fantastic influence. And he's trying to see how one Chicago club or one events in the Rotary International is trying to see what it can do to support it. Then there's the Lions Club from Pune. We went and had one meeting. Thanks again to an idea that came from Raj. I just galvanized it. I said, let's go. Doesn't matter. And we had some 3, 4 people who went to Pune. And we had a few other CSR leaders who came in, individuals who came in, all kinds of people came in. And that has led it to a point where we have the Director General, whatever he's called, the District Governor of Lions Club, saying that, hey, I'm going to see that it's supported, and some few schools that they are taking up. I'm saying that's at the school level, but how do we do more at these levels of Action Forum and Wow? How do we take what Ravalji has been repeatedly, he never tires of telling us this, that, hey, you guys understand that you can't do anything with water if you don't understand science. But it's not about us understanding science. It's about taking our message to a lot more people. Mary is primarily a communications person. She is an outreach person, and she does it exceedingly well. We have to see how we learn from such people. Over to you. I've spoken way too long. Thank you so much for listening to me so far, but I'm waiting to learn from you all.
Is Ravalji? I think you're. you've been shepherding these efforts. I want to hear from him on this. But Hari, that's a
Yes.
great overview. And I just confess, I am just a connector. I think we've had that in these conversations. So you are all the experts, and any way we can learn of your expertise in the Global Waterworks community, I would love to and have so infinitely with all of the sessions we had. But before I hear from our infamous Ravalji, I just wanted to comment the two individuals who are on this call and one other here in the States, Dr. Roll with the Partnership for Sustainable Development in Nepal, made our anniversary just extremely celebrated and made us feel like we had done something by baking a cake, gathering people, and making it an initiative. So they cleaned out a dug well and allowed for 120 kids to have impact. And that was just in 2 weeks' notice. He said, hey, we can do something. And that type of initiative, I think, is what we all see does make waves when we run into someone like that who says, I'm just going to do something. I'm not going to ask for permits. I'm not going to wait for someone to give me approval or even wait for funds. And that's what Festus and the team here in Africa, he leads with Jacob Kabanga, also the African Water Projects. And they said they prayed and prayed for years and presumed someone would come along who could help fund these tanks. And then they just took initiative and they said, we'll bring the volunteers. So the beauty of people who have a will and see the desperate need of their people when we have scarcity or pollution that prevents the quality of life. I think that's the only place where I've seen water projects change. And I want to hear from the rest of you today. And Ram Kumar has offered his experience with the restored aquifers. So I think you all have brought such amazing resources and knowledge to the table. Chandra with his buckets and the filters, and also the arsenic treatment. So I am just thrilled to be amongst this group and celebrate you all as we're in this World Water Week and entering a new decade, which I believe in the end, I'd like to end today knowing how we're going to solve the 2 billion people who don't have water right now or sufficient hygiene, because really that is a quantifiable amount. We have data, and ideally, bright minds like this should be able to come together, and the world has the funds that we should be able to secure. So, Hari, I think we need a big, hairy, audacious goal, a big, Hari, audacious goal to set forward the next decade. And I'll yield with that. Ravalji, eager to hear from you.
Thank you, Mary. But as usual, more I learn, more I feel inadequate. World over, the comments that I made, it's not that people are fooled. The point is, we take observation as a diagnosis. In diagnosis, without diagnosis, we are trying to treat a patient. That's what has happened in water. Before understanding the science of the subject we are discussing, we started writing norms and policies and standards. If I openly share my feelings with you, at least those working in conventional departments and activists and NGOs and parties, we have not understood water. Hariji says arsenic and heavy metals. Sir, you don't need a tube well or else your rivers and pond will run dry. I'm not talking chemistry. I'm not talking microbiology. Because water identifies only two things. Temperature, that water will respond by evaporation. And gravity. If Bangalore has a lake which is 20 feet deep and a tube well which is 1200 feet deep, there is no way your lakes are safe. Period. Forget about any other things. We don't need Rotary funding or anything to understand this. And this has been happening world over. the age of the planet is talked about in terms of geological periods. We introduced something new, changed the whole scenario in just 200 years, where geological periods have no role in bringing the new period. And that is Anthropocene period. Anthropocene, if I decode in other words, is a pure, sheer abuse of natural resources, which nature gave us in abundance. And it is the society which enjoyed the abundance of water is talking about water bankruptcy. Because water cannot be consumed, water can be only used. So without consumption, if we mess up with the resource, it is a management problem. It's not the lack of resource. So I see 4 dark chapters of modern civilization. And the population, which is 1% abusing the natural resources, we call it modern, civilized. The 4 chapters I see is agriculture, energy, urban centers, and sewage. If I have to draw a jellyfish where the crown is held by water, why I take jellyfish, I'll tell you later. It has 4 tentacles. One is town planning, another is energy generation, third is agriculture, and fourth is sewage management. The homeostasis of the planet is destroyed. These 200 years of so-called Anthropocene period has devastated the planet. And why I took jellyfish as my example? Because jellyfish have been here for nearly 750 million years, and they have no brain, they have no neurons, and they are still here. I am so touched with this particular platform that we keep talking without flattery. We have no fear to disagree. That's the health of the organization, the group. We are not running away from listening to something unpleasant scientifically. I was reading an article 2 days ago. Kegari Lake in Australia. Hariji, it is a desert 150 feet above the sea level. All sand, all moist weather, and the lakes have started drying. The organic matter which settled down due to sedimentation, it sealed all the floors of the lake, and lake were there for ages. And this single factor, Gopalji had posted something that plants receive everything from the air, which is partly true, but not completely. The energy currency, biological energy currency, comes from the soil, and that is phosphate. And the whole world is working on sedimentation without attending any part of the chapter of water management.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Raji. I'll put it like this to you. I think Mary also said it. A lot of the things that an expert like Rahulji talks about has to go out to people in administration. There is Dr. Snehal Donde here from Bombay. She's been working with officials with in Thane. She fails to make them understand why they should do what, despite all the cordial acceptance of her presence in meetings, etc. That has happened over the last 1 year or so. She does not know how to convince many of these officers on one side. The other challenge she has got is she does not know how to secure solutions in this world of people who only want to sell to make money and not really want to solve things with things that will work. So there are two challenges that people like Snail don't face. So here is someone like Ravalji who's saying what he says, and that has to go out to people. While she has the problem of not being able to find proper solutions, I won't say proper solution providers, proper solutions she doesn't find, while at the same time she has to battle this obduracy of the administration in the state government. How do we solve these? Is there a role that WOW can play in such situations? One more that happened in the last 1 year, which is something that could be indicative of what we can do into the future. And after this next 60 seconds, I will leave the floor back again to others to give us ideas. What happened is that we invited one group, an NGO, which is now struggling to see how it can resolve a set of challenges on a lake in a village which has about 2,000 acres of cultivable lands owned by farmers, which is about what 800 odd hectares of land which is under cultivation. So they need water for cultivation. They need drinking water for the villagers, and they are about 3,500 to 4,000 people. They need water for their cattle. It has to be good drinking water. I mean, it can be a little muddy. Cattle can drink, livestock can drink out of ponds. You and I cannot. So there is a slight difference in the quality of that water that they need to provide for cattle and livestock generally. So this guy came to me and said, can you offer to help me out on this? I stopped and I said, no, I will put you onto this whole group of people. You find out what you can get from them. Now I'm beginning to, that example I gave here in order to see that others here bring such people who are working for public purpose, not for a company and trying to earn money. We don't want commercial projects here. We want projects of this kind which at a public purpose, which can then have expert views from all of the panelists here. For example, Mary had a challenge on sanitation. Yes, she says she has found a way to solve it. I'm not so sure if she has, but I am certain that if she, got all of these people here who have worked on these things, like Ajit Seshadri and others, they might find a solution which will work there. Over to others.
Just a general talk. Everybody is talking about affordability. And you and Gopalji often emphasize that. I'm absolutely with you, but I'm at the opposite end.
Right.
Affordability matters, but the question is, can this planet afford us?
Correct.
You have to change the 180 degree, take the position on the other side of the table.
Got it.
Yes.
And let me translate what he said now, since I've heard him many times and I know what he means. Essentially, what he says is don't compromise on what you need to get. Okay, economics is important. Acceptance in the marketplace is important by various stakeholders. But come from this completely irresolvable position and then say, I will reach this to the people out there. Do not negotiate, is what he's saying. Yes, Mr. Subbarao, nice to have you here. You have been at various levels of policy. You missed some parts of what we discussed in the first few minutes now. But if there is something you can say uh, in the context of how this platform of the Action Forum with 250 such sessions that we are completing next week can do to help at the national level. I recall you're telling me, and that's the reason I'm inviting you to speak now, I recall you telling me maybe a month ago that there must be a way of pitchforking the WOW Actions Forum into certain kinds of national dialogues on water. If you want to expand on that, and if you think there are resource leaders here, not just resource people, resource leaders here who can help that process, that will be very nice, Mr. Rao. Over to you.
Thank you, Hariharanji and Rawalji and all other friends in the WOW group. Uh, to begin, let me congratulate the members of the WOW group that you have completed 5 years, 250 weeks. Yes, it looks a big number, in terms of days and all. But changing the human behavior is much more tough. And moreover, last 10 years, I am saying, and recent 5 years, not only in India, the entire world is facing critical challenge in the water sector. Because it is never, took and understood in a comprehensive manner water management is. We need to, what I feel is, what I strongly suggest is, water is such a resource. One can have basic principles and objectives. What to achieve, how to achieve. Okay? But we need to reorient the designs based on the local specific situations, which includes socio-economic and political scenarios also. You see, you cannot do away with it. Always water, it has its own role in the policy making. And how do we, convince the policy makers and the bureaucrats? And my friend, he was talking on the railways. His experience, I congratulate with him, because it took quite some time for me, more than 2 years, that railways must have treated waters for washing the bogies. One of the regional officers who attended my talk, she immediately took up this, because Secunderabad railway station itself was using 2 lakh treated water for washing the bogies. Is it justified? You see, we need to go further on convincing. And my experience is, having associated with several training institutions, which functions directly under the government of India's thing, and some of them state. The whole problem is government of India suddenly comes out with a guideline. And that guideline is circulated first to the training institutes. I think I shared the document to you and also to the Rawalji, that, now government of India strictly says circular economy, circular water, all that kinds of things. Use the treated waters for filling the lakes. Okay. So what happens is, several people in the WOW forum, we are trying to discuss on the basic issues and how do we go about.
Yeah.
But the bureaucrats and the engineers are trained under the framework of the Government of India guideline. It's very good that, WOW made established certain benchmarks, landmarks. As you rightly pointed out, we need some kind of a convergence among the members of the WOW. That is the first thing I suggest. Because we need to exchange our thoughts. We need to exchange our, whether we call it viable or non-viable strategies. Because after all, we go and talk to the system. The members have to find themselves, and we need to create, what we call is, microcycles. Among the WOW members, we have to find this, and it is not, a single man's job, Ravals or Hariharans, okay? It is the members who participate have to identify, okay? We need to go further.
Good point.
That is
I
most.
remember you're also saying that there has to be a senior citizens forum of people who have the experience, who are beyond service, and who can speak candidly. They have been in the bureaucracy. You remember you said all this, I think, about 2 years ago, Mr. Rao.
Yes, yes. Still, I continue work with these people and also with the like-minded people in the service where they can. The only
Okay.
because recently I conducted 2 trainings to the district rural development agency officers,
Yeah.
and second one is very interestingly Ministry of no, it is Department of Science and Technology came with another idea. I think Karnataka may be adopting it along
Got
with other states, is greening the panchayats.
it.
Okay? Greening the panchayat, panchayat secretary, panchayat elected representative. And I found most interesting is they have included the social welfare department, Anganwadis. They are directly connected with the women and children. Okay?
Yeah.
You
Fair
have
enough,
referred
Mr. Rao.
one case study of an NGO.
Mm.
Okay? We need to reconnect with such organizations who are working at the ground level.
Okay. Okay. Well, so for some of them who came in a little late, I would say that one idea that emerged in the first 5, 7, 8 minutes, along with Mary, was that we should invite people who want to know how to solve a problem. They have to be an NGO, they're working for a public purpose. They have a lake, for example, they don't know how to go about doing a certain set of things on the watershed. We can invite them, like we did this gentleman from Ballari district. And then we see how all of us give whatever we can as inputs is one thing that came about. And if we did say 10 or 12 such people who seek, the counsel of this kind of expert experience group, I think that will be a good purpose that the Action Forum can serve. Then you know what Mr. Rao has told us in the last 2 years, two things. One, how do you all form one kind of a group of people who are a blend of bureaucrats as well as who are people who have worked in the water division, etc., and who don't mind speaking their mind. It's important that they speak their mind. Bureaucrats in service will not. We know that. I'm very glad to see to Vishwanath here also. Because Vishwanath has always said, hey, why are we running down the government? Let's work with them. There has to be a language we speak with them. And he has said it very lucidly and clearly. Chandra, I will turn to you now, after which maybe we'll ask our Suresh Bhai has to speak because he has been there all through from the very first month, I think. We'll request Suresh Bhai to speak after you, Chandra.
Yeah, 2 points I need to say, sir. Somebody quoted here ICDS, the Anganwadi head, where Anganwadis need to be focused. I had almost given to 40,000 Anganwadis across the country. And in places where there is no space, we built a wall mounting bracket where you put this standalone filter so that it doesn't fall off on the filter. The data is missing. What is important is the government data, either be it village or Anganwadi or any place, the data says something that everybody have been given clean drinking water. Like for example, Har Ghar Jal
Correct.
is the scheme, but we see only Har Ghar Nal. Only pipes are there, no water. Recently, last month, I went to Ranjangaon near Pune, 24 villages, and near Jharkhand, Rikia and other places, some 30 villages. We have the data of almost 72 villages now, which has high fluoride, high nitrate, and unseemingly high TDS, everything. Government record clearly says none of these existing in the report. So
Look,
what
Chandra,
is
you tell us. Yeah, sorry, we have spent 60
No,
months.
just I'll finish it off, sir, quickly. So what I have done, I took the pain of doing the report for each and every water. I carried that water samples from all these 72 villages, took it to a lab, spent my money, got the report done to disprove that the government data is wrong with the NABL accredited lab, and then show them why this is your report. Then Nusli Wadia Foundation came forward and said, this is really genuine. You have done a job which has taken sweat and blood. Now we are funding for the whole 72 villages for all the Anganwadis and schools. So this is the tip of the iceberg. If at all we want to really take up the challenge, and an unfortunate time, the CSR mandate is over by March. I am getting all the orders now when the gas prices have gone up and the raw material prices are almost double. But I am sticking to the old price because I've done the commitment, I've done the homework, I'm committed to do the job completely. And even though now I may not even break even, I may even cut losses, I'm taking a vow that all these 72 villages will be given water purifier before March end. They were working on war footing basis, literally say. If this is the problem, imagine or enlarge it to a larger scale level in the whole country. So what is missing is the data. What is missing is to checking region specific or even the like great leaders here. We can start in a small, instead of talking and doing this. Can't we collect data and bring it into one platform, in one cloud platform in WoW, saying that this is the water report in this region. This is the water report in this region. Can we conclude and bring it under one umbrella? Then we tell the government strongly that this is the white paper like what Ravalji is suggesting,
Yeah.
or what somebody else is suggesting. This is the data which is contradict to your data. This is the report from, I can give you photographs of all the 72 villages, the complete Excel sheet of all the 72 villages with the report, and also the remediation we are suggesting. Then we suggest the remedy. So if this is the problem in a small minuscule level, first data is missing, correcting the data is missing. Can we conclude, because having spent 5 years and bringing so many fantastic leaders over here, can we work on action plan? This is my humble submission. Thanks for the opportunity.
Right. Thank you, Chandra. But like our Mr. Rao said earlier, Mr. Subbarao said earlier, an idea like this has to be taken up. I have no doubt on that. But for example, if you said, I will find a little bit of time, maybe 2 hours, 1 hour each in a week, and then somebody else here said, hey, I will give you resource person 1 and 2 and 3. And you had some people who will make the effort to find. They are not people who are just volunteers. They are people who already know where to get the data. Let's assume that. And let's say, for instance, again, Mr. Rao will be able to guide us. People like Vishwanath know such things. They've been around for 40 years, 30 years doing such wonderful things. So we'll have to count on such people to see whether they can, join that effort that you will make. I thought I'll just make this
Sorry
remark.
to interrupt. One more point. I may
Yes.
miss it otherwise. When some CSR company comes for asking for a data, I don't have a data. How many people need the filter? How many schools need the filter? How many Anganwadis? Anganwadi, Mary, these are all child care centers where pre-birth pregnant ladies and children up to going to this preschool are taken care of with nutritious food and water. Because she must be wondering what this Anganwadi thing is popping up. I want to clarify to Mary and other people who don't know what an Anganwadi is. This we have done close to 40,000 Anganwadis by taking meticulously the data and then giving them the right solution. So when some CSR comes also, I am helpless because the data are all wrong. So what is very important is to collect the right data from the right needy people, then put it on a white paper and then submit to people who are ready to donate. and then do the right job for correcting
Good
the right
point.
problem. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Being recorded, as you know, Chandra, I'll make points out of these. I'll send it back to the group and all that. Mr. Rao, you wanted to add something, I think. Otherwise, you wouldn't have turned on the video.
Thanks. If I am not wrong, it is
Chandra.
Chandrasekharan who
Chandra.
spoke.
Yes, yes.
Okay. The real challenge is getting the data. Okay. The CSR companies, these earlier, the funding agencies used to fund for the data generation, identify the needy places. Okay. The CSR wants, and they assume that an individual who is working with a concern will have all the data. Is it possible? Not possible. We should, no, what I am requesting is, what I am
Yes.
placing is, Chandrasekharanji, it's time for us, people like us, through the WOW, that we should make very clear to the CSR bodies that water sector has to be handled in a process way, not on a time-bound project way. It's a dynamic resource. The site which has plenty today may become drought tomorrow. How do we convince the CSR bodies in this mode? They want everything March to April. No. We need to. I
Sir,
take the
sir, 1 minute.
contact
If I
number.
plan properly, that is also possible. But what is lacking is the real-time data. To spend time, go there, collect it, and then give
The
back
point taken.
is going to be a problem. Yeah.
I'm marking this.
Sir, we can manage, sir. Deliverance and
Good.
products we can manage. What is lacking is the real-time data and whom to deliver the product.
Yes, she's gotten a question there. Mary has a question for you, Chandra. Maybe you want to answer that on the chat box itself. I will turn to Suresh Pai now. It's already 6:42 past the hour. Yes, please. Answer, Suresh. First,
Good
thank you so
evening.
much
Good
for
evening.
those initial years.
Yeah.
Your presence made a big difference in that first 18, 20 months. I know that. I can't forget that. 24
Yes.
to, I would say 30 months. The full
Yeah.
second year, you were heading those sessions and so on. Over to you.
Yeah. I will just brief. Sorry, I have some challenge on the video. I will not be able to open it. Kindly bear with me. And the theme for today's 249, WOW 249, looking behind and ahead, is a very good theme. See, I am actually an Adivasi of this WOW forum, because Adivasis are given some special privilege. If you go to Northern Sentinel Island, they are given special. So I deem it a privilege today to give my just brief about how we started WOW in 2021. Actually, we started with a mission of 1,000 crores liters saving for Bangalore city. So with Usha Kini, retired Doordarshan, and Dr. Hari driving this, we were discussing every 15 days, because initial meetings used to be on 15th and the first week. So like this, we proceeded, and we brought eminent personalities in the water conservation. Like, for example, Mr. A.R. Shivakumar of Indian Institute of Science, Mr. Dr. U.T. Vijay, then Sunil Mysore. And WOW 30, we had a complete women talk. For example, Shobha Reddy, then Annapurna Kamath on lakes. They gave a lot of lectures. And we in 2021 July, we thought we should reward the apartments and the mall, those who are conserving water. In fact, one of the apartments who insisted on this water conservation, rainwater harvesting, I think his name is Nesara.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're right about
Yes,
that.
yes,
I
yes.
also don't remember
So
his
he
name.
got
There
the
was a doctor,
award.
somebody. Yes.
Yes. And then even Century Saras, we got the award for donating 1 crore liter of water. And even today, we are displaying in our showcase in our apartment, because we got a lot of awards. And we had eminent personalities, because when we started, in between we got a lot of youngsters. Like, for example, Ganesh Shanbhag joined. He started the
Yep.
mission of spreading awareness to social contacts, and he gave a lot of ideas in those days. And Sarla
He also
Shanti,
led the writing of a research paper for Columbia University,
yes,
which saw
Columbia University,
60,000 viewers. Yeah,
Indrani
yeah,
Pal, yeah.
absolutely. Thanks, of
Yes,
course,
yes,
to
yes,
Mary
yes.
also there. It's all
So
source connected like that.
then we
Yes.
had Syed Khaja from Pollution
Yeah,
Control Board.
correct.
So, and very, very useful discussion we used to have. And considering all these things, I myself benefited with this kind of lectures. One point is, we are telling that we should have so many things, data and other things. See, ultimately, everything, it makes a lot of cost. It costs a lot of money to recruit people, run an organization. It is not easy with no funds. So I think in between we were discussing about how best we can improve our area of operation. Dr. Hari was always telling, no, we should not collect any money from anybody. So it has to be volunteer. And cannot even ask you, please give me something. Nothing. I think that objective, that philosophy, and these things have made the WoW even 250 episode today, and I'm sure it will continue for many more years. And on this, I would like to mention about Mrs. Vishwanath, who has been very instrumental in Saras. He has given a lot of ideas for us in conserving water, improving our STP water. So there are a lot of experts in this forum. I think we should make use of their expert. And always I used to say, stop looking at the government, asking for some favors to the apartments or the citizens. We have to do our part. This is what I would like to conclude. Thank you, Dr. Hari.
How so well organized. Typical of a chartered accountant. Where, you have listed everything and you went about telling us. It's a great recall that you did of little details I had myself forgotten. Ganesh Shanbhag is here. Ganesh was the baby of the forum at that point of time. Today there are many others, and he has also grown older. Ganesh, do you want to add some few points? You're
He has
always a
joined
very
somewhere
pleasant
in
guy.
July
He's
21,
here.
June
Yes,
21.
yes, yes. About 3 months after you. You are his mentor in that sense, and he will happily concede that. You know. Yes, Ganesh.
Yeah, again, like as I see, I mean, one thing is for sure we had a great impact on the society, right? Like, because at least with respect to the awareness, good amount of changes we are seeing, but are they really getting converted into whatever we wanted them to do is still a question mark. But with respect to awareness, a lot of things have happened, and as you rightly said, right, the one which we published with Dr. Indrani Pal has reached great heights. Probably it would have crossed 100,000 viewers by now. uh, and other thing is about what we need to do, right? Like Suresh sir was right, like this particular forum has a lot of experts, and over the weeks, over the years, we only these experts keep talking to each other, and like our wisdom is growing. But unfortunately, those who need to act are still not coming ahead, right? That's one challenge whatever we have. So and with respect to other thing, right, like I just want to conclude with one statement, right? We need to think beyond fossil water and fossil fuels. Only then we can survive. We are seeing the impact of both the things today. Again,
No,
like
you're not saying
this
out of your own sense of
250th
modesty.
edition, right? I just want to thank everybody, Dr. Hari, Suresh sir, Usha ma'am, everyone. Like, because like when I came here, I was very not so much matured with respect to whatever I was doing. Today, my thoughts are very directed, and I would say I met a lot of great people in this forum, and including Ajay ji, right? Like we both chat for hours together. So in that way, it was a very great stuff. And by the way, and half an hour back, I also called Usha ma'am. She was somewhere in Arunachal. So I'm pretty sure like this session will also bring that particular dawn of light to us.
When Ganesh says non-fossil water, he's not telling us out of his own sense of modesty. of what he did in his own apartment, which requires about 80,000 liters, which is 30 million liters in a year. And of that 30 million today, he does not take one single liter of fossil water, right? He only has water that, and he has taken it to that next level, which we all have to do, of taking treated wastewater and upgrading it to drinking grade water. He did it all by himself. No vendor, no provider, no solution joker coming anywhere near his apartment, right? And he's got nothing to do with water. He's a techie who works in some whatever kind of space that he does. And there are people here who have spent 30 years on water. We are still not able to, include itself, get apartments to go that extreme, or what is,
Sir, there is a
how to
small
control
upgrade
of
to
it.
this story.
Uh-huh.
A builder came to me recently and said, like, I want to design a building in a very right way, which is
Mm-hmm.
not having fossil water even for construction. And I said, like, okay, I will help you in whatever you want. The building should have my daughter name. So,
Ah,
so that's how the story progresses. And there is one building coming up in next 3 months, which is I'll share the locations with you.
lovely. And it'll be called after Ananya now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will be called Metropolis Anya.
Absolutely fantastic. You see, this is how we should. Yeah, you see that. Who else should I turn to? I Neil Matthews is here, but before that, I think I will turn to Vishwanath because he has always offered some very sage views. Then we'll go to Gopal Dalmia, and I will reserve people like Nikki and Niharika for the last because they are people who are doing things and are getting under the skin of the game. Vishwanath.
I was just going to say I'd like to
Yes,
volunteer
Mary.
Dr. Raoul.
Yeah.
Okay,
There.
wonderful. We'll ask.
Okay, Hari,
He's coming
Hari,
from Nepal, from Kathmandu.
yes,
Yes, please.
Hari sir,
Yes.
Yes,
thank you,
Doctor.
thank you, Hari sir and Mary, inviting me to in this very important forum. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to O Group to achieve the 5 years of milestone, and I wishing for the great impact in great progress in future in achieving thousand of the milestone of year in future. Similarly, I congratulate to Mary to support Nepal Water Initiative. Yeah, we have been currently implemented small water initiative for the community schools. This was dysfunctional since decades. So I request from the school teacher and local community people, we have able to rehabilitate the dog well. As a result, 120 school children have been getting safe drinking water. So thank you for Mary and other team of the Global Water Works. We have been
What do you want as help and support from this distinguished group of water
Yeah,
experts?
actually, sir, actually, we have been celebrating World Water Weeks, organizing the different events across the country. Actually, I would like to share some story we have been faced in the ground level. Actually, in Nepal, according to the latest report from the government of Nepal in EC mode, 50% over spring water sources dry off during the time of 20 years of span, especially uphill in mountain area. As similarly, underground water, water discharge also very depleting in the Tarai region. 10 to 15 meter depth water discharge level reduce during the time span of 20 to 30 years. One of my experience when I was working with Finnish development organization in Nepal in
Doctor,
2005, I was involved during the master plan of the one BDC. BDC. We had to measure the 2,100 spring water sources in the uh, Toli Jaisi BDC of Dailek district. Last year, Finnish organizations repeated the master plan or during the time of second master plan measure the source, yeah. 50%, yeah, above spring water sources fully dry up. So now,
What we will do is this, the Taraval.
yeah,
This meeting is today to reflect on what this action forum can do. I
yeah,
will give you one Thursday entirely, the 90 minutes of it, for you to
yeah.
tell us of
No,
your problems
no,
with your team.
I will conclude. I will conclude. Just request to the
Yeah,
policymaker, researchers, and global water leader. In
sure.
the context of the Nepal, in past generations, all of the household rearing the buffalo,
Yep.
most of the off-hill area, local
Okay.
people had constructed the buffalo ponds here
Mhm.
inside of the grazing area, inside of the jungle, nearby the village. Automatically, yeah, rainwater automatically collected such type of the ponds, and that helped to the surface water discharge and underground water availability. But now, yeah, we have been practicing as in the ingenious way as a research fund in some specific area with partnership with some aid organizations, donor agencies. So I just want to suggest to the researchers, makers, we need to identify the such type of the traditional practices which
Sure.
had practices, yeah, our parents and our senior in the past. That's type of the indigenous knowledge we need to, yeah, apply at this situation in ingenious way to, yeah,
Sure.
maintaining the natural water ecosystem, also restoration of the water sources, yeah.
Fully with you, Dr. Raval. And thank you for being here today. I will connect with you. There are other people here like Dr. Snail Donde who say that, look, I have studied some of these water bodies in Nepal. I'll try and
Okay,
see if I can. You see,
okay,
this has to be, as I've often said in the past also, Ravalji knows this, this has to be something which is like a clearinghouse in a bank. People come in, take things from here, put back things here in a way that others can gain from it. How do we
right.
make that clearinghouse out of the Actions Forum is something I'd like you to remember. I'll ask two young people here, August Jaidman from New York City and Shobit from Dehradun to speak now. They are the youngest in the lot, and I think there will be a lot to learn from them both. August.
Okay, thank you for your great
Yes, sir.
opportunity to
Please
sharing my
continue to,
experience here. As
yeah,
I
and please put in your mail ID in the chat box. Maybe
yeah,
others will connect with you. I will certainly connect with you.
okay,
And
okay,
maybe you'll learn from the rest of them who will speak here.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Please stay on. Yes, sir, August.
Yes, I think that when looking towards the future, that this is one of the topics where uh, there's a great amount of, let's say, there's a great amount of expressed interest in conservation, preservation amongst um, young people, and I mean, I'm obviously most familiar with here in the Western context, but there's very little that is actually done in terms of concrete engagement and um, policy. So I think that it's very
Where do
important.
you think people like us can help you, all these experts, if you
Yeah,
want to do something?
I mean, for one, I'm very grateful to be a part of this group and present for meetings such as this. I wasn't able to join for a while, but it's very good to be back. Um, and I think that it's a matter that falls as a responsibility not just to such as the experts in the field like we have here, but like was being said earlier, it really needs to be performed in conjunction with governments and social organizations, bureaucracy, in order to not just focus on individual
No,
responsibility.
when all this, when you hear of reports like the one from Oregon, which came last week, where a guy was arrested because he harvested rainwater, and somebody said, "This is unsafe. You can't be doing this." And you know that there are at least 20 states, if I remember right, in the United States where it's banned. You cannot harvest rainwater yourself. You have to use the grid.
Mhm.
Now, when you hear of news like that, what happens to you as a young person? I know you are what? You're a Gen Z, 1999, 2000. By the way, for the rest of you, August just completed a program in Switzerland, on the German speaking part of Switzerland. And he has a friend who is the son of a very dear friend of mine from the 90s and so on. That's how I know August. So, August, when you see this in your country, or when you hear of what's happening on the Colorado and in parts of Santa Monica, down into the Napa Valley and so on, what do you think you ought to be doing as an individual? And are there ways you want to galvanize some community of of like-minded people who will want to do things in your own country?
Yes, I would just offer the minor correction. I completed my program and continue to live and work in the Netherlands. Um, but in context like that in the United States, a lot of the time those restrictions come down to very low levels of governance, in which case fairly small groups of people can actually have an impact, when it comes to cities and towns. Um, but that's also the level of political and social organization that has the lowest
Right.
levels.
That day, yeah, I got that. Yeah, you finish that. Finish that thought, and I'll ask you.
No, and just it's been increasing those levels of low level coordination has been a key interest of mine for many years, the majority of my life. And I think that while there may be a great amount of interest or enthusiasm in theory amongst young people, there's very little actually happening in practice as of now to resolve many of these issues.
Is it for want of direction or inclination?
I think it's one, a matter of I mean, it partially comes down to situations of increasing economic precarity, where many young people simply don't have the time or ability to be engaged in this way. But it's also a matter of a lot of these systems uh, are purposely obtuse and opaque and difficult to engage with. So increasing access and opportunities for engagement, I think, is a really key way to get more young people to actually work towards making a difference
Got that.
in these issues.
I remember that. Important. Youngsters don't have, I know what you're saying. We've all been there, so we know. शोभित नमस्कार कुछ कहना चाहोगे आप अंग्रेजी में या हिंदी में I would prefer you speak in English because a lot of them may not understand Hindi. शोभित
Good evening, sir, and good evening to all. Sir, I want to share my views on in Hindi.
हिंदी में चलो
Sir,
ठीक है
मैं
करो आप and we will have somebody to translate. Don't.
सर एयर एयर और वाटर दो ऐसी चीजें जो इन्फेंट से लेके 90 ईयर ओल्ड तक हर एक पर्सन को जो है उसकी जरूरत पड़ती है, लेकिन फिर भी हम जितने सिंसियर होने चाहिए थे शायद वो आज उतने सिंसियर दिखते नहीं, क्योंकि ये बहुत कितनी भी इसकी परेशानी हो वाटर की, लेकिन वो एट द लास्ट ऑफ द डे हमारे टेबल पे जो है वो अवेलेबल हो ही जाता है किसी भी फॉर्म में, चाहे हम खरीद के पिए चाहे वो किसी भी फॉर्म में पिए, वो अवेलेबल है ही है। और आरओ भी आज हर एक के घर में है, चाहे वो हमें पता हो आरओ की जरूरत हमें है या नहीं है, लेकिन हम आज हर एक कोई जो है वो आरओ लगवा रहा है अपने घर में। ये नहीं देखते कि उसके पीछे हम कितना पानी बर्बाद कर देते हैं, जितना पानी हम कंज्यूम करते हैं उससे ज्यादा पानी बर्बाद कर देते हैं। तो सबसे बड़ी जरूरत जो है वो आज हम क्वेश्चन नहीं करते सर। क्वेश्चन करना हम भूल गए हैं कि आखिर हम जो जितने हमें रिसोर्स मिल रहे हैं वो कैसे मिलेंगे, वो खत्म हो रहे हैं तो क्यों खत्म हो रहे हैं, उनके बारे में हम इतने क्वेश्चन नहीं कर रहे हैं। स्कूल लेवल से ही हमें क्वेश्चन पूछना जो है बंद हो गया है। तो सबसे बड़ी, अगर मैं
शोभित,
इस
आप निजी
समस्या
तौर
से,
पे शोभित, आप निजी तौर पे कुछ कर रहे हैं क्या? ये जो अभी चीज आपने बताई, इसके बारे में आप अपने ही शहर में या गांव में कुछ करने की कोशिश तो किए होंगे ना?
सर इस समय मैं इंडो चाइना बॉर्डर पे बैठा हुआ हूँ, चमोली डिस्ट्रिक्ट में सर।
अच्छा, ओके। चमोली
और
यहाँ गढ़वाल में? चमोली
यस,
गढ़वाल या कहीं और?
नहीं सर, गढ़वाल जनरली दूर अलग रीजन है, कुमाऊं और गढ़वाल ये, पर
जी,
चमोली अलग डिस्ट्रिक्ट है सर उत्तराखंड में।
मतलब पिथौरागढ़ के सामने कहीं?
चमोली में
यस
कहाँ
सर,
पर
ये
बैठे हैं आप? चंपावत की तरफ या?
चमोली में, ये सर ये कुमाऊं रीजन के बिल्कुल बगल में, इसके बाद फिर
हाँ
बगल में
हाँ,
ही
वही
चाइना
चमोली।
भी शुरू हो जाता है
नहीं
सर।
नहीं, समझ रहा हूँ।
यस
चमोली
सर।
कहाँ आप, मतलब चंपावत की तरफ बैठे हैं या ऊपर मतलब
कि-
पिथौरागढ़ की
Look,
तरफ?
ये
he
सर
doesn't matter, Nikki.
ये सर
He's still in Gadwal Chamoli only. I thought there was some other Chamoli talking. Okay. Uh, तो बताओ आप आगे, 1 or 2 more minutes, Shobit.
सबसे बड़ी समस्या है सर कि बच्चों को स्कूल में वाटर से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन पूछने चाहिए सर। हम अपनी मुहिम को जो है वो स्कूल लेवल और कॉलेज लेवल तक पहुंचा सकते हैं कि वो एटलीस्ट कम से कम क्वेश्चन पूछना तो शुरू करें। वो अगर कहीं प्रॉब्लम है, वो हिली रीजन में घूमने जा रहे हैं, तो केवल वो नेचुरल ब्यूटी को ना देखे बल्कि वो जो सूखे हुए स्प्रिंग्स है उन पे भी ध्यान दें। दूसरी मैं चीज एक और बोलना चाहता हूँ कि आपने एक बार गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स को बुलाया था सर, और हमने देखी भी कि उनके साथ प्रॉब्लम क्या थी। शायद उनका डाटा इतना एक्यूरेट नहीं था, या उनके जो डेटा लेने में या सैंपलिंग में जो थी वो प्रॉब्लम हमें साफ दिखाई दी। तो अगर हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स को बुला पाए, जनरली स्पेशली अगर हम फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट से बुला पाए, क्योंकि हमारा जो रिवर्स का कैचमेंट एरिया होता है वो फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट में ही पड़ता है, तो हमें उनके साथ
जी
उन्हें एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम क्या आती है हम वो जान पाएंगे सर। और
जी
उसमें
जी।
हम उनकी कोई मदद कर पाए, उनकी कोई हेल्प कर पाए, तो वो शायद ज़्यादा एक्यूरेट होगा। बस ये कहना चाहता हूँ सर। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू शोभित। वहाँ एक हमारे बहुत खास दोस्त रहते हैं, चमोली से आगे 1.5 घंटे के रास्ते, कुमाऊं की तरफ, हेम। अ, मैं आई विल इंट्रोड्यूस यू टू हिम, आगे देखो आप उनसे कुछ मिले वो वन
गैरसैंण में
पंचायत।
रहते हैं।
गैरसैंण में रहते हैं। और वन पंचायत के हिसाब से वो 20-25 साल से बहुत सारे काम किए हैं वहाँ। ठीक है, यू कैन मीट हिम ऑल्सो एंड यू विल लर्न अ लॉट फ्रॉम हिम शोभित। Sorry, one bit had to happen in Hindi. Shobit insists on speaking in Hindi. I will turn now to two people. One is, of course, Vishwanath. Vishwanath, are you willing to say hi and talk now? Because earlier I'd called out and you were, yeah, there you are. After
No,
Vishwanath, I will request, I think, Lokendra Balsaria to speak from Ahmedabad. Then we'll turn to Niranjan. Yes, Vishwanath.
nothing. I mean, it's always been a pleasure to listen in whenever I've been able to join the conversations, and
Great.
it's great that these conversations happen. And I wish these conversations happen in the future. I think we should keep our expectations a bit low. We are part of a overall economic framework and a global framework which is currently under huge stress. So water cannot but respond to these stresses and be impacted by these stresses. So whatever we do in the areas that we do, we should continue to do that. The forum itself should be a place for listening because there are different worldviews that are there, and it's a challenge to do a respectful listening these days, no? And to internalize ideas which other people have, put it inside you, mull over it, and then take appropriate action that you think is appropriate, right? So the forum itself provides this platform to have these different voices and different worldviews, right? And so there's no single solution that is there for water, and there's no way that we can solve many problems with the small group that we are, but we can engage with the solution seekers and the solution providers and be a shoulder to cry on for them and be a patient listener, and to the extent possible share our experiences with them on the process. So that's I think modest expectations is the best thing to keep for the forum and to continue the conversations.
Given us 4 key points. I will definitely sleep over that and invite others also to see what they can do with it. But Is there something very brutally candid you want to tell us of what we have done or whatever?
No, there's nothing
Something very,
brutally
very candid.
candid. You see, the thing is that the elephant in the room or the gorilla in the room, and in most countries where water has been delivered or wastewater sanitation services have been delivered by the state, right? And so therefore the state is a beast to engage with, to influence, to hold accountable, to help, assist, whatever. And so all these things need to be done at all scales and tiers. And so therefore we cannot but engage with the state from an advocacy, pressure, whatever point of view. We need to do that. And we need to have the patience capital to be able to change the course of the Titanic. Because I think right now the Titanic has hit the iceberg. We're only rearranging the deck chairs. So let's have fun listening to the orchestra and painting it the colors of our favorite choice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well
Like,
said. In fact, talking. Yes, Mary, go on.
oh, goodness, that deserves a response. We are not on the Titanic. I pray we're not on the
Yeah.
Titanic. I think all of these people have created great solutions. Wherever there's a water problem, there is a remedy if we come together. And in deference to you, very, very kind remarks about, let's not hold ourselves to higher standards or expect anything. But absolutely, we need to expect great things from this group. And I think one of the things that I love most is the opportunity for discussion. But what I think needs to change in the next 10 years, in fact, I don't invest more time in the discussion, because if we don't have smart goals and if we don't have very specific visibility into what the problems are and know the tactics we're using to resolve them, like the African folks have come up with and like our lakes team have come up with, there's no point in continuing to discuss. It's a cycle that is just exhausting. So I just think, in the interest of a more lively discussion, I say we're not on the Titanic. We're on the cruise ship, celebrating every little village, every little lake that's restored, every place where we get data and we can act on it, because the technology is here. And that's what we found in those 50 plus tech sessions that we did together, which I so appreciate you're all participating in. But I yield with that and just say,
Good. Yeah.
I believe in a brighter future, but it'd be neat to see everyone.
Yeah. Oh, you muted yourself, Mary. You muted yourself.
Oh,
Mary, you muted yourself.
Are we headed for a brighter future, or are we all headed to burn up? And if we're headed to burn up, let's go gather our friends and family and just hang out with them. but I think
But
we're
in
headed
some
for.
ways, in some ways, like Vishwanath said, I think we are not working towards any target. I think just the travel is the fun part of it, right? The moment we begin to expect something, then we begin to be frustrated. And I think that's one of the things that we should clearly avoid and steer clear of in this forum. And back to Vishwanath, I must tell you that, you know, a month ago in Current Science, this man, Srinivasulu, the former member secretary, now the MOEF secretary, etc., he wrote a piece in Current Science. I sent it to everybody in the group. And our Ravalji was excited. He said, hey, it's good to have somebody writing in Current Science about water. He decided he will do one session about that. But then at the end of it, I'm telling myself, personally, when I was reflecting on it, I said, there isn't anything coming of it. I don't know how to convert. I'm asking you now, Vishwanath, how do we convert a set of ideas? Multiple ideas are coming. There was something else brilliant, idea that came from Ajay Singh here, of some place in near Calcutta, where in 1902 they have done separating of black water and grey water, and he wanted that to be, or he's, I think, getting that to be documented. I'm saying that there are lots of these little things that carom off as ideas, but nothing happens to take this forward from there. Is there anything we can do about such things, Vish?
No, I think there will be youngsters, there will be people who take many ideas forward and they will be engaging with many more ideas, right? So, therefore, what we need to do is to appreciate the millions of ideas that are necessary, which will take things and which will engage with things, right? So therefore, that's the way to look at it. And Srinivasulu is a fantastic person. One of the incidents that I want to just sort of highlight is I was part of a function where I was supposed to be teaching some students and professionals. And as usual, the minister and the principal secretary arrived 1.5 hours late. The minister held forth for a long time, but Mr. Srinivasulu said, look, I can hold forth, but I'd rather listen to people who've been invited to speak and to train people. And he actually didn't speak, and he sat down and listened. And so I think the art of listening and cogitating and thinking is a fine art which needs to be cultivated, and which this group should also, which it is doing, allowing us to listen to different worldviews. That's something that we need to persist with.
Brilliant. Well taken. It's a message that drives home very well with me anyway. Niranjan, and then after you, Ajay Singh. Niranjan Khatri. Before Niranjan turns on his mic, Niranjan, are you there? Will you unmute, please? I think it's unmute. There you are. Before Niranjan speaks, let me tell you, I owe tons of gratitude to this man. Somewhere in all of those things, Mary, I must tell you this, that he revived some relationship for me with Raj. And you know what happened after. And in between, somewhere else, I think he got me quite a few people who are somewhere connected in this process for us. And Niranjan has therefore been one axle which holds things together. Niranjan, over to you. We are not able to hear you. Yeah, your blessed net is not working today, Niranjan. Try. You want to try from your phone? You want to log in from your smartphone and try? Can't hear you, Niranjan. Yeah, yeah. Okay. But Ajay, you should speak. Ajay Singh. Ajay, by the way, he came in thanks to Niranjan. They both known each other for quite some time. Of course, Ajay knows also Vishwanath for quite some time. Ajay, you've been here for maybe a year and a half or so now, and you know the kinds of lovely connections, like you keep saying, you have made, with multiple people here in the forum. What is your take of what you have seen so far? And what do you think we should do, if not for the next 5 years, at least the next 1 year?
So, as far as the forum is concerned, I consider it is a good place to kind of center myself because I'm running around with many projects, many places, many things, all centered around water. But coming back to Wow Forum is always good because I think my primary aim is to kind of just listen and see what I can absorb and what I can translate into action. Because
Your volume is very low. I don't know if it's only my perception.
is it okay now?
Yeah, better. Definitely. Thank you.
I'll put on the mic. I forgot that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what I was telling was, as far as the forum is concerned, I really like it because it's very consistent. Okay, there are many things which are churning around, and many times we really don't know what to implement. But yes, it helps me in keeping me centered around water. And it also helps many times some ideas get triggered because of the conversations here, which I'm able to put into use on ground. So definitely, it's a good opportunity to exchange ideas. There are many things which come up, and I think one of the good features of the forum is that a very wide spectrum of water use and water context is there because you have people from village, you have people from mountain areas, you have people from outside, and we get exposed to lots of things. And I do agree with Vishnath sir when he says ki, we have to kind of work with the state bodies and all. And in my case, it's primarily railways. One or two things which I would like to point out is which came up during the conversations. There is, I think we all in this forum realize that there is a need for using the shallow aquifer or the surface water. But I've been going to villages and all. Unfortunately, the government schemes, they have totally discounted open wells. Like in UP, in Raebareli, when I went, the villagers are telling me that, ye pani to dushit hai. It's like polluted water. So this is the kind of narrative which is being set through government policies, which needs to be a bit corrected. I'm trying to do the same with the railways, and luckily for me, people kind of listen. I do have a different kind of experience with government, that is central government railways. The people do listen. So yes, it gives me opportunity to make a change.
Thank you. Ram Kumar, and after that, Snehal Donde. I'm not requesting Gopalji to speak, Gopal Kamandur to speak, because now his voice is down just now.
So good evening. I hope my voice is clear.
Yes, yes.
I think thanks to the WOW Forum, Dr. Hari, my good friend Mary, and of course respected Travelji. So I practice and try to do very simple things actually. Basically, what our traditional earlier people used to do, the rainwater is allowed to go into the soil. That's all. And soil is a living being. And it is a shallow aquifer recharge. Deep aquifers are automatically recharged. This method, the challenge is how to do it. Many times,
no, the challenge is not how to do it. The challenge is how do we get another 1,000 people to know what you do?
Yeah, exactly.
And how do we provide, how do we create 20 more Ramkumars?
Yeah, exactly, sir. Exactly. Thank you. So in this case, I should thank my organization, Indian Oil Corporation. Right from 2000, along with my other assignments, I was given an opportunity to do this a little bit wherever I can. And I continue to do it for them even now. So unless I catch the top leadership, nothing gets done not because people do not want to do it, but unless they are busy with a lot of other jobs. For example, right now all are busy meeting the petroleum requirements. I want to do something in March. I got one session lined up on Monday, all-day session, with great difficulty. So people say all are busy with meeting the petroleum needs because of the geopolitical situation. This is going to last priority. So what I would like to, the group to help me is the simple things, like for example, I've used graded gravel pits in plenty, more than 3,000, maybe much more, and shallow aquifer recharge. And as Ajay Singh rightly said, like open wells, even in the cities right now, they think it is a waste. It is a waste. Open wells is the finest form of shallow aquifer recharge. And many people are not aware that the shallow water or the rainwater is excellent water. They feel like going there. So we may have to bring a thought leadership change. That thought leadership change, I'm not talking about the smaller areas, to the ministry level, everybody, that the shallow aquifer recharge is excellent. Then drains are not a solution for any city. Drains throw my water to somebody else's house, depriving the soil of water even in my own house. That means I am going down permanently into the soil, sucked in, and the water pollutes the entire road, rivers, everything. Like Chennai, 3,000 crores spent. I recall Dr. Hari also attended my session along with the panelist members of the CM's committee, where in 11 minutes I pleaded only for rain harvesting stormwater drains. Then we did not leave it like that. Through our SIAG forum, we caught hold of this professor who was a member. And professor was very intelligent enough to say that government did whatever they wanted. Recently, we had taken up with the city town planner and the MLA in our meet in the local, Kamkodnagar and Pallikarnai. The MLA was very intelligent. He simply said, "Sir, neenga chonnadhu naanga pannitom." That means what he said, whatever you wanted, I have already done it. That means I am thrown out. I cannot question. The chief town planner said it is in the drawing board. It need not be in the drawing board. We are doing simple things. So can we make a thought leadership change that the stormwater drains are not meant to throw my water to somebody else's house? It is supposed to feed the Mother Earth some water, only the runoff should go, thereby solving many problems, not only in the world. In fact, with Mary also have discussed. I think I'll wind up here. I'll not take much time. The power of soil to absorb water is not recognized. Even if it is recognized, it is not practiced.
The message has to go to more people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Vishwanath said, we have to keep talking about it.
We have to keep on telling. For example, like Kamkodnagar, I have lined up a small water day pledge on Sunday. There, this will be pushed. Slowly,
I keep taking, even yesterday I was speaking somewhere and I was taking your example of Chennai, water table and what you need to do, all that,
What little bit we can do,
Yes. Snehal Donde, Dr. Snehal Donde. She spent some time in New York City, August, some time ago, last year, I think it was, under was it the Rhodes Scholar or some other kind of thing that you went on?
No, that was Fulbright Scholar in Residency program.
Absolutely.
In New York.
Go on, Snehal.
So thank you for giving me an opportunity.
I must also, before she speaks, sorry, Snehal, must also say that here is a lady who's so fierce in her commitment, Mary, I must tell you this. She spends money out of her own pocket doing things that she does with state administrations. Second, about 3, maybe 4 years ago, she was invited to become vice chancellor of a university, and she said no to it. She said, I can't be a gateway for corruption. I will not take it. Over to you, Snehal.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving this brief. This is basically since the beginning, we are hearing that we require data. That's why I wrote in the group also that the data is ample. There is no dearth of it because we have all the websites of government where all kinds of hydrology, hydraulics, and even about the drainage system and everything. Data is all there. But who is interested to learn the science of it? Because the people, those who are implementers or people like us, those who are public, they are also not much interested today to go deep into understanding about the treatment aspect, because we are just going ahead with one or the other alternative solutions, and there are so many people those who have come forward with the solution, but ultimately they could not substantiate or back it with the scientific understanding or scientific basis of it. That is where I feel we are lacking today. And that's what we are looking forward in the WOW forum also, so that at least our clarity of thought.
Yes.
Because, see, it is all about the water management, which is not being done properly. And that's why, if I give an example of Mumbai, now we are going on making one after the other the dams, whereas across everywhere in the world that everybody is decommissioning the dams. In India, we are going ahead with one after the other. Now in Mumbai also 3 dams have been announced and we are going ahead with. Again, we are going ahead with the desalination plants, but we are not understanding as much water we are using, that much our sewage is getting generated. Now most important is we have to understand the treatment of the sewage, how we are going to do. Now also, since the time we are discussing in WOW, we understand that few places we have such type of solutions, like what you mentioned, Hariji, that Ajay Singh ji had said about the Kolkata 1902, about the gray and black water separation, which is already existing. Another is about the east west wetlands, which are there in Kolkata itself. So there are such type of solutions, but who is ready to replicate or learn the right things? Always it happens that government people or any public like me also, we went abroad to understand how treatment happens in America and other places, and so that we can bring that technology here. But ultimately, my eyes, I got all kinds of insight that it's not just in India, across the world, that STPs are not functioning as it is required. So that is the reason that we have to go back to our traditional system roots and all, and then understand that what exactly is the required. And COVID already taught us that no human intellect or intervention is required when it comes to a solution in the nature. Nature itself has its own self-regulatory mechanism, which we have to leave it. Thank you so much for giving opportunity.
Wonderful. Very nice. Vishwanath, I'll request you to stay on another 5 minutes before I invite, the next person. And I have Neil Matthew in mind. I have Mr. Narayan Reddy in mind. Nikki, of course, Mr. Gopal Dalmia, etc. I'll just share this. I want you to look at the screen. I request you all to look at the screen. This was done by one of those people who, helped put this together after listening to many of us. He says these are the categories. What is it that you all want to be? What is it that WOW represents? I completely am with those, those 4 to 5 succinct points that Vish, sort of listed today in the meticulous ways that he does every time. But this is what he said, and these are the 4 areas that he put up. And then he said, when it comes to the people that we are, he seems to categorize us in these different ways. Change makers, some providers are there are some advocates, there are some collaborative community people. Today, for instance, a man from Mudavidri is not here. Whatever his name is. So then he said there are catalysts, practitioners, consultants, the style of action, the way we all sort of engage within the process, either here or on the WhatsApp group. He said, look, this is how I can see it, he says. Then he looks at it and says the approach to influence is data, talked about today too, inspirational, motivational, and blah. engagement style, democratic, blah, blah. I thought I must run this, and then now I'll keep the screen. If there's anybody who wants to sort of respond to this and say, I mean, you know that dumb question we all get asked. So who are we? And you know how these management guys will do all these wonderful exercises on telling you who you are as a persona. I don't want to get there. I think we are fine being who we are in some ways. But is there anyone who wants to respond to this bunch of thoughts that came up from someone? Vish, do you want to say something?
No,
Anyone else?
I completely agree with the way it's been done. So it's very nicely put together as points. It's a complete agreement with it.
What would you think we should do with it? Any thoughts on that?
I know.
Or are we okay with it?
No, I think we are. One of the things is there's a constant angst of incompletion or incompleteness with a lot of us, and it's normal as a human being, right? I think at some point of time we should also pat ourselves on the back that we existed for 250 shows, and that we hope to exist for 250, and that these conversations will take place, and many ideas will be exchanged, and many ideas will be contested. So that's perfectly fine. I think. This is a perfect space to be there, and that whoever has done this job has done a very good job of putting together these thoughts.
Mary, your thoughts on this? I'll turn to Ajay Singh after that. I want to ask Ravalji. I know where he comes from. I understand him very well and I respect him for what he stands for. Mary?
Well, I think it's incredible to have the discussion forum, and I think I need to take a closer look at these details. But I think the idea of lining the discussion forum with specific SMART goals so that you see progress, that was so attractive, the five major metropolitan areas that we all started with, and yet maybe those people aren't motivated for action. Maybe it's the people who have access or desperate situations, and WOW really is the World of Water that takes action for that. So I've been incredibly influenced by this group, so I can't thank you enough for having this open discussion and bringing experts together.
Right. Neil Matthews, anything from you? Sorry, Ravalji, I'll come back to you. Yes, sir. Neil Matthews, you want to say something at this point?
Yeah, so my
You've been around. You have been there almost all the 5 years. That's why I'm asking you.
Actually, the sheet what you showed is excellent. Whoever made it really beautiful. So
I will share it in the group. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's excellent. Now, for me, this is majorly a learning place because I am more a practicalist. Okay. So whatever ideas I am getting, I am trying to do it and propagate to other people. I am not so public and thing. Whoever comes to my home, I demonstrate, I try to teach whatever I learned. I discuss with them and try to learn. And my way of doing is immediately practicalizing and trying it out. So every bit of thing what I am talking is practiced. And what I tell to every listener of mine is also practice yourself first
In
before
the last 4.5 years from the forum, what has been your learning?
Now,
be blunt.
My
biggest I have learned nothing.
No, my biggest learning is that unless I joined this forum, I wouldn't have switched to the complete rainwater-based house, because my house was obviously, as somebody was telling, they say the well water is bad. Gopal was telling, and some say the rainwater is bad, well water is bad. We are living in such a community, and my family is also in the same, right? So I used to do a mix and match of everything. But the moment that WOW meeting in 2021 March sometime, when Vijay referred me into this, I convinced my family. I switched off the water from the association, and then onwards we are living with the rainwater. If needed, we are just replenishing with the open well water, and I have made so many mechanisms to continue that. And ever since that, I can say almost like my except for the plumbing line testing, I have not switched on the public water to our house. So that is the biggest achievement. Yeah, and that's a good example for anybody to see. and convinced. Yeah.
Okay. Gopal Dalmia, and after that, Ravalji last. Gopal? Anji, yes. Let me tell you all, we know each other for what, 25 years now. And he has been with the mother. I mean, he has been a devotee of the mother at the ashram there in Pondicherry for all his life, 45 years. His son lives these days in France, and he speaks French better than the French themselves, I would reckon. And it's now Gopal and his wife, they happily live there, he's the only son they have. Yes, Gopal. He has done champions work on watersheds between, say, 95 and 2010, around those parts south of Pondicherry towards Kadalur. Yes, Gopal. You have to unmute. Yes, please. You have to unmute. Yeah. You can do Alt A.
Here, special interest, I would like to kind of give a little light on what I have observed over the last 60 years or so. And I take the railways as an example. We have been speaking as how to educate people, and railways have silently tried to educate people in the way they can in a proactive manner. We have Ajayji. I'm sure he's giving his full ears to what I'm trying to say. If we can recall, say 6 decades ago, it was common to find that one of the taps in the coach would be missing. Somebody would take it away either for use at home or probably sell it away somewhere, and everybody in the coach would suffer for the lack of water because the next filling station would come after 2-3 hours, 4 hours, sometimes longer. And people were too engrossed about their own little petty requirements to take away a tap. That was, say, a beginning. The quality of water that was filled was different from every filling station. You would find very yellow water, very salty water, and all kinds of water. Coming 60 years hence, we find a relatively consistent, at least visually consistent quality of water. The taste also is not as bad as it used to be. And the other thing is, for example, the flushing system, the amount of water that would be available for, say, the 75 people who would be in a coach. And they tried to teach us very slowly by changing themselves as how we can prevent pilferage. They put different type of taps from spring type to lift type to certain contraptions so you can't open and take it away. They added mugs so that it would be convenient to wash ourselves.
Sure.
And then they even have put, allow me, please. I'm going a very tangent to the common stuff that we are used to.
Okay.
And then we now find we have health faucets put there. So the conservation of water has come a long way. The method of availability has come a long way. The quality of water has come a long way. And they have been doing it very silently. The railway engineers have tried to prevent the pilferage. They have tried to prevent the misuse of water. They have tried to prevent the abuse of water, if I can use that word. And slowly the amount of water which is available to all passengers till the next filling station is consistently improved. Now, the other thing is teaching is at home, like people who are traveling by, say, Navjeevan Express or from Chennai or any other station towards the Rajasthan belt, Gujarat belt, you will find that the water is definitely there from station to station. It's never finished because the people who are traveling in that direction have been suffering from shortage of water for centuries. So they have an inbuilt knowledge of how to conserve water, not how to overuse it. On the other hand, when we travel through Orissa, Bengal, Assam, you find shortage happening before the next filling station because there is much more abuse, if I can use it, the amount of water they use for the same purpose. People who are going westwards are using water. Those who are going to the eastward also are using water. But we have not been able to tell the people on the east who have got water all their lives in ponds and rivers around their place, they are more used to abuse of water. It's difficult to teach people not to abuse water. The resource is same, but the genetic information that has come from centuries of shortage has an impact. Now, how we can bring that information from west to east is a challenge. Same goes for agriculture. When I was young, a good part of our country was dependent totally on rain-fed crops, and we had millets and all kinds of grains that were produced with very little water, almost only dependent on rain. Very few people had the luxury of canal-fed waters, and they would grow paddy and sugarcane and things like that. Now the amount of paddy and sugarcane and such water consuming crops have gone to the extent that people have to be taught to eat millet again. The ration does not give millets. They are trying to reintroduce, but it's not coming through. We have been taught the wrong way to eat rice in the last 60 years. It is difficult to unlearn and go back to our roots. I'm only sharing today the problems ahead because we have a group that gives different aspects, a different light, a different point of view to every challenge that is thrown to our group. That's all I have to share this time. Thank you very much for the opportunity. You are muted.
No, thank you first for insisting that you should speak further. I wasn't listening when you first initially, but very, very good thoughts, and I'm sure Ajay Singh is listening. He will do what he can. Niranjan, thank you so much for being back. I know you're having some serious challenge out there in Lanka.
Thank you.
Your thoughts, and after that, we'll move to Ram.
Yeah. When I started my journey in water management in 1988, I realized that if you're obese, you have to look at your consumption. And then I discovered that our industry is highly water obese. And just now, I was very happy to hear Mr. Dalmia saying that the steps that railways is taking. But I would like to see more action from the railways in terms of sensitizing people. They carry approximately 2.5 crore people every day. They have a captive audience. They can put some excellent messaging in each bogie to enter the perceptual arena of their mindset. And they have not leveraged that particular. And I have been saying this for many years since I had a relationship with Indian Railways, right from 1998 to 2002 when I took training sessions for them. So having said this, which are the sectors where there's great possibilities of tightening your belt? If I look at the car industry, I'm not talking about the production part, I'm talking about the use part. I find that a lot of people have shifted from the hose pipe to a 18-liter bucket of water. Even that 18 bucket of liter of water is also very, very luxurious use of that. And I'm told we have about 50 million cars in the country. And if you add the two-wheelers, the figures are about 350 million. So even if we take at the rate of, say, 5 liters per vehicle, the figures are huge. And we need to see how we influence the car industry that in the thick book that they send, the front page should have something bold on water that please do not wash your car. You can just mop your car. That kind of thought process has to be inculcated by them. And they have not done this. And with regards to the construction industry, again, I find that they cure the wall and the water stagnates for about 5 or 6 inches on the floor. And they pump out water from depths of 800 feet. Why can't they pump this water which is stagnating on the ground, clarify it some basic means, and reuse that water? And while curing, why don't they put gunny bags on the walls so that the retention is there for a longer time? You use lesser quantity of water. So I'm giving you very simple idea, they are doable, but they are not getting traction. Then, of course, my favorite, when people say, I know about sustainable development, so I do a very quick dipstick check with them. I said, okay, if I come to your house, what do you do? They said, give me a glass of water. So I fail them mentally. And there again, we are wasting 200 crore liters of water. I can go on with regards to various industries, but I'll not do that. If you can do this, great. And the other thing I learned in Port Blair, when we had the severe water crisis at 1 day's notice, and our water supply was cut from 10 KL to 2 KL, we were watering a garden, and then I got a message from the local MP that, hey, we are not getting water to drink and you're watering your garden. So stop watering a garden. And that time I didn't know this $100 words called water ethics, but we stopped watering our garden. So we became sensitive to the needs of the community and said, okay, let our garden become like Thar Desert. So we'll sell our destination with two options. One, tropical forest, and come and see a Thar Desert. And every day when I sit on the throne, I feel very, very guilty. So how do we create a guilt quotient in the industry to understand these things? These are 2-3 points that I thought I'll share with you.
And never say die, man. You know it will not happen, but you'll still insist on doing it. And that is what I think marks many of the people out here. Thank you so much. We are way off the 50, I mean, maybe I know it's what? It's 10 o'clock there for you, I think, and maybe 10 past. But thank you for staying on. Thank you, always. With youngsters like you, only two of them, Shobit's still here. People like Vishwanath are absolutely precise when they, share thoughts. People like Ramkumar are persistent, perseverant, trying to see what they can make us change. Everyone here, Suresh is very, he tries, he keeps doing it, in very many different ways. I know he is aligned to many public purposes of this kind even now. There is much as learning today. We'll see how we can take this forward. And I think one of the things that I heard from you also, Mary, and from many others, get on with it. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll see where we will get, sort of thing. I think, yeah. Thanks so much, all of you guys, for being here. Nikki, I'm not going to listen to you. I'll take it offline with you, Niharika. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.